you doing?
I'm well. How are you doing? Well as we can be in this crazy world.
You know what? 2020 is a bear, but you know what? 2020 is actually showing me a lot of stuff, and I'm actually learning to love it. It's freeing me up in a lot of ways because
Hmm.
I think I am seeing clearer than I've seen before people and
Yeah.
situations and things, and it's not
Yeah.
just Donald Trump.
No, no. I think you're right. I think we're seeing there's some real revelation, and we're really to understand. I tell people of faith all the time, this is the year that makes us understand who we are and what we really believe. We say a whole bunch of stuff we believe until we in situations like this and say, now the church building's closed. Now are you the church or not? And who are we?
Who are we? So, and that's what, and let's, for everyone, if you don't know who I'm talking to tonight, I'm talking to Father Michael Pfleger, who is a Roman Catholic priest, and he is leading the church in the south side of Chicago called Saint Sabinus. And I'm gonna tell you something. This is a brother from another mother. He's marched with Dr. King. He speaks the truth. Father Pfleger is out there on the front line, bringing the gang members in. When we talk about all this stuff, the Crips, the Bloods, whatever, whatever gangs there are,
Right.
Father Pfleger is bringing them into the church and trying to revitalize, reshape, rebuild their lives, rebuild the community. And what's interesting is when Donald Trump talks about Chicago, this is one of the men who's on the front line doing it. And not only, and he takes it personally when the president talks
Yeah.
about Chicago and American City. He's talked about Chicago, he's talked about Baltimore, he's talked about Detroit, and he's talked about Philadelphia. So, and we all are, what do we have in common? We are all underserved and underserved communities and having
Absolutely.
issues. So what I want you guys to know tonight, I need you to sit back and let's talk. And Father Pfleger got this mindset from marching with Dr. King and John Lewis and all of them. And one thing I find beautiful about Father Pfleger, he doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. If you go to St. Sabina's Church in the south side of Chicago, he has got a more than life-size mural of the Black Jesus.
That's right.
You heard me, the Black. I said, what? I even got a post of it. He gave me a post of it. I said, okay, it's not the Black Jesus from Good Times. It's
Right.
his Black Jesus. So I am just so down with Father Pfleger. He is everything to me. He actually I had Reverend Barber, Pastor William Barber on
Mhm.
Monday. Both of you spoke at the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the
Yes.
assassination of Dr. King at the Lorraine Motel. And that I'm got a call. And that was one of the most interesting and beautiful things that I've ever been with, seen, witnessed. And I just thank you for just being who you are and keeping it real. So let's talk about this man called Donald Trump and freedom
Right.
and the vote.
Well, I think the first thing, Donald Trump has, first of all, we can't tell that he has created or brought about racism in America. Donald Trump fueled it. He emboldened it. He said, go out and be in your face, and I will be your backup. I will be your poster boy. I'll be your mouthpiece. He's done all that. But what I thank Donald Trump for is that Donald Trump pulled back the rug and showed us the real America that we want to pretend does not exist. We somehow would pretend we're this wonderful country, like his old "Make America Great Again." America ain't never been great. America has never been fair. Remember, we're a country that was born and birthed in genocide. We were built on slavery, and we're committed to white supremacy. America, when they say, well, the system's broken, it's not broken. America is doing exactly what she was created to do. And what he did is he just pulled back the rug and showed us this country. And we want to say, well, no, that's not really us. Remember, April, while Biden got 74 million votes, Donald Trump got 70 million votes. What does that say about us?
We turned a blind eye to racism. We turned a blind eye
Absolutely.
kids coming across the border from Mexico being put in prisons and their parents being pulled apart from them. We turned a
Yep.
blind eye.
Right.
But guess what? It's all right, but he's doing what I want. And I kind of don't like them. I have no respect for people who cannot see what's in front of their face.
No, and that's my problem. I told people, I said, we voted out Trump, but we didn't vote out racism. We did not vote out sexism. We did not vote out this bigotry and poverty and supremacy. We did not vote that out. Those folks are still there, strong, and not about to move. The other problem that I think we have to be concerned about is a superficial response. You know, when I see all these corporations, will hang Black Lives Matter signs outside their window of their building, that's cute. But who's in your boardroom? What kind of people are working in your company? How are you treating people? It doesn't impress me to take down a flag or take down a statue or change a face on a rice box or a syrup bottle. That's nice, that's cute, that's easy. But the spirit behind that flag is flying wild in this country. And until we deal with that, till we have the courage to deal with the issues and get them at their roots, we don't think anything's better because a flag or a statue is gone.
We're speaking with Pastor Father Pfleger of St. Sabina's Church from the south side of Chicago. He doesn't take tea for the fever. And I say that to say he speaks the truth whether you like it or not. And at the end of the day, we are sitting in a moment of history where we can make a move one way or the other.
Absolutely.
Donald Trump wants to hold on to 4 more years when it's gone. Even, Father Pfleger, get this, even the White House gift shop, someone sent this to me today. The White House gift shop has made replica coins or commemorative coins for the 46th president, for President-elect Joe Biden. Does Donald Trump know?
He might need to visit the gift shop.
I know, because the gift shop is moving ahead with the transitioning and commemorating the 46th president. He's over here, I'm going to go for a second term.
But look at the April. Isn't it interesting? Just like he does not want to concede that something has changed. Isn't that symbolic of a country that does not want to concede and go to a new direction? To me, it's real symbolic because those 70 million people that voted for him are saying what he's symbolizing by his not budging on his concession, as we ain't conceding nothing either. Understand, even when Donald Trump, whether he concedes or gets thrown out of the White House, the folks that followed him want to make it very clear they are not conceding in what they believe and in the country they want. They looked upon Donald Trump as being a white man's last stand. And when
what bothers me, but what bothers me, and you talked about it a minute ago, he's not alone. There are so many people who have this facade. Oh yes, I believe you. Take it in and listen to you and like stabbing you in the face. And it's not just the people, the basement of his base. It's some people. It's some of us. And when I say some of us who act like we down and we not. It's some of us. And I mean, and if we look at the numbers for Black people, I was shocked that the numbers rose for Black men. Can you tell me, since you work with Black males from the hood, from the community, why did Donald Trump's numbers go up to 18% from Black men, and they went up about 3 percentage points for Black women? Black women, I think, are 8%. Black men are 18%. Why, in your opinion? You are in the hood. What? You work with us. What?
You know what? I asked a number of folks after that who I had talked to and had some conversation with, and some folk just said that it was not a pro-Trump, it was an anti-Democrat, because they believe the Democratic Party has not. And I tried to say to them, understand something. You had 2 choices in this election, more Trump or try something different. Now, do I think Joe Biden is going to turn around America? Hell no. Excuse me. No. He's not going to turn around. He's not going to turn around America, but we got to do, just like Roosevelt told A. Philip Randolph, we've got to push him, we've got to force him, we've got to move him. But if you have somebody in that seat who is not only not going to be open to being pushed, moved, or changed, but has made it very clear where he stands and who he stands with in these last 4 years, we are fools to let this guy back in office. So there was some that just felt, I mean, it was a very small percentage, but the fact for me, I'm like you, anybody that could vote for this man, and in fact, his base went up in 4 years.
Okay, so someone said on here, and they were very right, and y'all send Father Pfleger some love, because you know what? I am confounded. I am vexed. I am confused. I'm confused. I'm confused. So guys, here's my thing. Someone wrote self-hate, and I'm going to be as real as I can be.
Mm-hmm.
If you have people who, Maya Angelou, show me who you are the first time, believe them.
Yep.
How many, what he did before he even got into office with the C's on the colored, on the housing applications, the Justice Department go after him and his family. What he did to the exonerated five, and I asked when they were the Central Park Five, I asked him when he apologized. He said, for what?
No. Yeah.
And let's go back. The exonerated five are exonerated because someone came out and said that they did it, and the DNA matched.
Yep.
They were innocent. The person said, well, yeah, they said they did it. They were coerced by the police. And then police brutality, he sees these videos, but all he wants to do is be pro-police instead of weeding out bad policing and stopping the chokeholds. So, and at the end of the day, he doesn't want to hear about civil rights. And my thing is, and look at this, we're right in a moment with voter suppression, and he's talking about voter fraud and then trying to claim some suppression. No, you suppressed us. You hijacked the Jaguar mailboxes off the street corner.
Yeah.
You know, and I think about a man with all these bags just hijacking them and running. And then he went to the Postal Service and took apart the sorting machines to suppress the black vote. Now, if that's somebody who cares about us, I don't know. It reminds me of people who, if we have a lack of knowledge, we perish. And I think about the black people who died from COVID, who sat up under him thinking it was something good to eat, Herman Cain, and now Reverend, what is it, Harry Jackson Jr.
Yeah, right.
At the election night event at the White House, where not many people were wearing masks, black man, Pastor Harry Jackson Jr., dead today. He died Monday.
Right.
In the event on November 3rd. Black man. Herman Cain talking about, we're sick and tired of this, or whatever he said. We fed up. He said, I'm fed up. Wrote on Twitter, I'm fed up with wearing a mask. You fed up somewhere, heaven or hell. I don't know where you are, but you fed up dead.
Yep, exactly.
Listening to this man, and I told someone today, the shepherd is the fox or the hound in the shepherd's clothing.
Yep.
He's leading us to the slaughter, and we don't see it.
Well, I mean, what has happened with, look at the evangelicals. Look at the Paula White.
Oh, don't talk about Paula White.
Look.
We know about Paula White. We exposed her. That, oh my God. At Bishop T.D. Jakes' church, we were in Dallas, Texas a couple of years ago. Paula White was talking some smack, and we were like, no.
And you know, I was at a meeting here in Chicago when Paula White came out on behalf of Ivanka and the White House saying that they wanted to do something, because I've been saying over and again, you want to do something about the violence in Chicago, come with your money. Don't come here with your smack. They'll come here with your money.
If you ain't come here with your money, not your smack.
I said, I don't want. So we were at a table where she was at, and she came there representing the White House and 2 or 3 other people with her from the White House. And I said, you want to get a conversation? I said, we've been in conversations before. We gave you all the documents, all the data. I want to know how much money, because I'm not going to have another conversation with you unless you start with $50 million. Unless you start with that to stay in one project that you're ready to go to on the north, on the west or the south side. She said, well, we want to come in first and have the White House and have Ivanka come. And so I said, I'm not into photo ops. I said, people are dying out here while you're playing with this stuff. You're playing with people's lives for photo ops for you and that man that you're supporting. And I said, and shame on you, because the reality,
she's making the money. Black folks are dying. She started in the black church. She got
absolutely
her name out of the black church.
No, you right on target. The black church is what made her who she was.
I know this.
And she got into that White House being, I know she's got to be paid in some position. She said, I got a position in the White House now, and I can have his ear. I said, you know what, Paula? I don't want you to have his ear because I don't want false prophets in the ear of the president. And that's what she is.
So
That's
let's talk about this. These false prophets, from Mike Huckabee to Paula White to all of these people
Kenneth
who
Copeland,
profess the
all of them.
Lord Jesus Christ and sending the people to the slaughter, supporting a man who says explanations about black and brown people, who could care less, who has told people to basically put hits out on people, sending
Yeah.
people to go out to Kenosha, Wisconsin, and Portland, Oregon. I
Yep.
had to move my house. I had to get a bodyguard because I saw it up close
Yep.
and personal.
Absolutely. Absolutely, but you got to look at it, and this let's go back a little bit to the 60s and Dr. King. Dr. King said, "We will and we must pass laws to make integration and to make lack of voting and lynching and all this to be illegal, but we can never pass a law to change the heart. That's the job of the faith community." And the reality is, as we look over these years, the faith community suffers from what a whole lot of folk in America suffer for: identity theft. Their identity's been hijacked by this government and hijacked by money and hijacked by corporate America. And now they become Pharaoh's aides. So they sit around him realizing, and I believe it may be much more sophisticated this April, but I think it's as basic as money, because they can get a picture on their wall, they can go to a White House dinner, and they get a check, and they're willing to sell out themselves, sell out their people, but more importantly, sell out the damn God they say they're serving.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's talk about Darrell Scott from Cleveland. Lord Jesus, have mercy.
Yep.
Help me now, Lord. That man, after I asked the president, Mr. President, in the Roosevelt room, "Are you a racist?" I asked 3 times. Darrell Scott screamed out, "No." I said, "I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to him." He said, "I'm talking to you." And then after the president walked out, not answering my question, he proceeded to want to throw water on me. There were reporters and cameramen. The Marine had to come and step because he saw it was getting heated. I'm like, "You don't want this." I said,
No,
"I've got the crew." But I've never had to ask questions or be in a situation where someone would come after me. But that's, but he's going to get his, because when it's all over with.
Yeah.
And some of the reason why, and we have to be honest with ourselves, why are they fighting for this? It's not about ego. It's about the fact that people will fall because there are indictments that are on the way once this president is out of office.
Oh, once he's out, exactly. And I hope they all go with him. I hope the whole shebang goes with him, because they have sold themselves out to get the checks. What they have done with the money they have gotten, how they have gotten it, and through they have gotten it through. Trust me, once this man is out of office, I believe a whole bunch of stuff is about to come out, and they all need to be exposed.
Oh, there are going to be names. There are going to be people who are going to be implicated. This president plays dirty. If you were in any kind of cahoots with him, your name is good. He will drag. He says, "Oh, if I'm going, you going down with me."
You're all going, right?
That's how he is. I'm telling you guys, everybody, it is so funny, Father Pfleger, when you're in the White House, people are so esteemed that I'm from Harvard, I'm from Vassar, I'm from Yale, I'm from Stanford. But Donald Trump is strictly from the street. And
absolutely.
Game peeps game. And those people are like, "Oh, I would never, I don't understand." And that's why they're like so shocked. I'm like, this man is straight up street and hood.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what really gets, and going back to your question earlier about the African Americans that voted for Donald Trump, those are the same African Americans that are sitting up in the churches of these pimps.
Pimps in the pulpit, yes.
Pimps in the pulpit.
Mad at us tonight, but I'm shaming the devil.
They can get as mad as they want, because truth is truth. And the fact that so I believe where he got some of these votes is, folks, because if you sitting up under a Paul White, or you're sitting up under these preachers who have been out here supporting the Trump, while he is one of the most racist people, has been in a public office ever, and the things he has done, separating children at the border, supporting supremacy, won't even call out the white supremacists, won't call out the Proud Boys.
Stand back and stand by. Stand back.
Yeah.
He was acting like a general, telling you, let's sit back and watch what they do.
Get ready.
Right, get ready. Because, Father Pfleger, as a man thinketh, so is he. If he could not come out right at the beginning and denounce them, something ain't right. Now, all of this is not thus thou art, wherefore thereas, all this legalese and political mumbo jumbo. Some of it's just plain and say, guys, and people kill me that, but it looked like that, and it sounded like it, but it can't be. Yeah, it is. This is a different man.
Yeah, no, he is exactly what you see is what you get. And they jumped on board with that. But I don't understand the people sitting in the pews in those churches with these pimps up there supporting this guy and getting up there and preaching supporting this guy, and Paula White getting up there, and but she messed up, April.
How
She
she messed
called
up?
when she called angels from Africa and South
Oh
America,
my
she
God, my
messed up.
children were like, "Mommy, is this real?" I said, "Yeah, this is real. I
Yeah,
know this
but you
crazy
know what?
woman."
They said, don't worry, sister, we already on the way, but we ain't coming for what you calling us for.
And he even turned on her from the way I understand it. So
But you know who also makes me just as angry, and still even in today, since he has refused to concede, is this Republican Party who has circled wagons around him and haven't got the guts, because this is the other scary thing, because they're going to still be there. And the reality is, if you are still standing behind this man who is what we see, this thug racist who sits in the White House, if you're going to continue to stand around him still and support him, the Mitch McConnells and the Lindsey Grahams and the rest of them, guess what? Guess what? These people are going to still be there with their racist agenda, and understand something. They ain't going away. They've been emboldened.
even if Trump leaves, Trumpism still stands, and this
Still
is
stands.
it's going to
Just like
stand
Confederacy still
because
stands.
right, and this is why Democrats are screaming we got to flip the Senate, because if they do not flip the Senate, people like Susan Rice will not be Secretary of State, because Mitch McConnell will not let Susan Rice be Secretary of State or
Never.
the Department
Never.
of Defense. He will never do that. And not only that, think about what happened with Merrick Garland. Barack Obama had Merrick Garland 8 to 11 months before the election. They said, no, you can't do that. And what did they do with Amy Coney Barrett? How many days?
Right.
Less than 20 days.
Shoved her through in the middle, and not even in the middle of the election. In the last couple of months of an election, they shoved her through, and shame on those Republicans. I thought there was a few that would stand up. I thought that maybe a Mitt Romney would stand up. I thought a few had some piece of conscience left in them, but they didn't. They ran forward with this, and we have to understand, if we don't flip the Senate in Atlanta and in Georgia, if we don't put this, April, they are committed to do whatever they have to do to try to stop Biden from getting his people in office.
And it used to be very like behind the scenes. They are so bold with it out
in your face.
Lindsey Graham was like, oh, remember that video? Oh, we are setting precedent. We'll never do it. And look what he did. He lied. And Lindsey Graham fought for that. See, he almost lost that seat.
Almost, and I so hoped he was going to lose. I so prayed he was going to lose. But you know what? Lindsey and Mitch McConnell are nothing more than the Bull Connors with suits on in the Senate. That's all they are right now. To the end of Jim
Trump is George Wallace without the apology, without the deathbed apology.
Without the apology, exactly.
Without the deathbed apology.
And I believe that Trump has too much on them, and they don't want him to turn on them. So they go hold their ground, and they're going to be as bold and emboldened when Biden comes in there, and they're going to do everything they can to stop his appointment.
And that's what Trump does. He gets things on people. That's all they do. When they first came in the White House, when we were first introduced them, they had dossiers. Omarosa was talking about dossiers, and then they denied it. Do you believe it now?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So we were trying to expose it early on. People were like, oh no, he just said that to get in. Did he really? Look, 4 years later. Look at 4 years later. He don't even want to leave. And barricading the White House. That's
all right. That's all right. I would love nothing more than to see the military grabbing him and dragging him out of there.
It's Secret Service. The military claims they're not going to do it, but it's going to be Secret Service. But if Secret Service can't do it, something's going to do it. But
call me, I'll do it. I'll pick you up on the way.
And we'll wear our hazmat suit. We'll wear our stealth hazmat suit, because that's one thing I want to report on. But seriously, so for everyone, Eric Holder, the former U.S. Attorney General under the Obama administration, and he also was Deputy Attorney General in the Clinton administration. I was blessed to have been there for 23 years, and I'm going to be there for another probably until I'm about 60. So anyway, so he said to me, he said, look, he said, don't worry. And he said it on COVID Conversations. He said, don't worry about Donald Trump saying he's not going to leave. He said, trust and believe. He said, come inauguration, January 20th at noon, Joe Biden will be sworn into taking the oath of office. And then after he's taken the oath of office, he's going to get the codes, all the codes to include the nuclear code.
Right.
And if Trump isn't gone, they'll just move him out. He said it was
Right.
just that simple. But he said it's so simple, but trust and believe there's gonna be drama. This man is nothing but drama. And he's gonna call for all, like he's calling for this mega million mega march. What the heck?
Yeah.
You're gonna have all these people coming, and I tell you, they come trying to intimidate, they do crazy things, and I'm telling you, guys, just be careful. They're screaming, they want civil war. And there's no,
absolutely.
why is this president stirring up this pot?
And I believe that's exactly what let me tell you, April, I believe with all my heart, he knows he's lost. He knows it's over. And the reason he's putting these people back into these different positions, his appointments he's made in the last 24 hours, and watch what he's going to do in the next 60, 72 hours. I believe he's putting people in place. I believe that he is going to set up a civil war. I believe he's going to use every ounce of energy he has to bring this country into a war before a new president can come in. He wants to set this country up for a downfall, because he never gave a darn about America. He cared about one thing, Donald Trump, and he fooled people with that mantra that he cared about America and America first. It was always Donald first. And that's what he's lived for. That's what he's shown us for 4 years. And it's time for us to believe it. But I believe he's going to call his people to arms. He's going to call his people to come surround the White House and to do it. And not only the White House, but like what happened in Michigan with that governor. Trust and believe that he's going to be doing things in other parts of this country to those, and particularly in democratic cities and states that opposed him. This man is plotting. He is not going to go down easy. His man is plotting what he's going to do and how we can take people down. He wants to have so much civil unrest that he's begging that they'll say you should have stayed in it because you're the only one that can stop it.
So here's what's very interesting. At the end of the day, Donald Trump doesn't want to leave office, but he's got all these people coming in his camp. Pompeo said, are you ready, for transition? So what, transition to a second term? I'm like, the Secretary of State. And I'm thinking, people are like, why are you surprised? I'm thinking still people will go to the best of themselves at some point, and he didn't. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing that's tripping me out. They're talking voter suppression, voter fraud, but what about, why didn't your attorney general investigate the Postal Service? What they did was nothing but voter suppression. We are voting without the full force of the Voting Rights Act, and they are doing everything they can to steal the vote.
And they put that man in the post office just for that reason.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
And the attorney general is as evil. Barr is as evil as Trump. And we got to understand that this man, right now, understand he is, and there's a position that he is in as attorney general. Understand that what this man is putting in place right now, there needs to be at this point, and sadly to say, because we never thought we'd be at this point in this country, but I really believe that come an appointment of election of a new president, the old president should be lame duck. There ought to be things he can't do anymore once a new president is elected into office, because he's got 7 weeks to do. Now, we look at all the damage he's done for 4 years when he wanted to run again.
Worse in the next 7 weeks.
Imagine what he's going to do in this 7 weeks when he has nothing to lose. And nobody's watching it because he's getting rid of everybody around him that can blow a whistle. And he's putting his own people in position, because the man is not stupid. He is ignorant. He is as smart as a fox, and he's going to do as much damage as he can do in these next 7 weeks.
So let's guys, I just have to be honest. Okay, Joe Biden is Joe Biden. Kamala Harris is Kamala Harris. But really, for me, in looking at this election and observing and reporting and talking to people, it wasn't necessarily about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They happened to be, for some, the icing on the cake. It was about a rebuke of Trump. It was more about the rebuke of Trump. I'm not saying you could have put anybody in there, but it was more about the rebuke of Trump.
Absolutely.
Than it was anything else for many people.
Yeah, April, you're exactly right. I think that this election, and I was saying that for the last number of months, every place I went, every place I spoke, this is about saying that you refuse to become comfortable with this supremacy, this social inequality, this injustice, this poverty, this racism that America has normalized in the last 4 years and grown its base, and as you said, become more in your face and emboldened. Now, do we want to vote for this to continue to grow, or do we want to say, I reject this as an American citizen? Like you say, Biden and Kamala happen to be the two people who came out of the party to run against him. But this was more to me about saying, I refuse to submit and surrender to the normalization of this kind of evilness and wickedness in this country. I'm not going to be a part of it.
And you know what? And I'm going to keep saying this. Trump is not, he's not alone.
No, 70 million people voted.
There's a lot of that undercurrent of just pure nasty. I'm like, who are we? There are people who are just, and Governor Wilder, the first Black governor of the state of Virginia, said to me, he said, you know, for my first book, he said, when racism rears its ugly head, that's when there's a financial issue. It's about money. People feel like the ends are not meeting, that someone else is getting what they should be getting. Basically, it's an economic thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What is it right now? Is it economics? Is it just hate? Is it just, what is it? Is it the browning of America? Because it's here. It's not going to change.
I wish I could believe it's just economics. I think that's power. I think a lot of wealthy people said, hey, we did well under him because he's one of us. And they supported him because they're going to make more money, they thought. But the other part of it is this, though. I think there's a DNA in this country of hate and racism. And it's in the very bloodstream of this country. Now, we've been trying to address it and trying to band-aid it all the way around. But when Trump came in office, he said, wait a minute. When he said, I am America, he was absolutely right. He is the DNA of America, the hatred, the racism, the supremacy, the sexism, and the sexual assault he did against so many women, all of that. This is him. This is America.
Wait, you talking about Tic Tac? You talking about when he took a Tic Tac and said, grab him by the pee?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, how in the heck, I'm going to clean this up.
Clean it up, Pastor. Remember your pastor.
Yes, man. Peace. How in the heck do evangelicals and Paula White and all these other demons that are in these pulpits support somebody like this, and they talk about, oh, I'm for respect life. You all think
if white women, the numbers of white women went up.
Absolutely. And you stood in support of this because guess what? Their hatred overrides even their care for themselves. Their hatred overrides their belief in what the things they say is right. I'm telling you, April, Donald Trump became, and he convinced white America, I'm your last hope. It started back with Barack Obama. The reason he was at that whole birther thing, it was nothing about Kenya. It was about this black man is not one of us. It was about where he was born. It was the fact that he was a black man, and they saying he's not one of us. So he comes out, and I'm going to come in, and I'm going to make sure us get back in control of this country so something like this will never happen again. And it wouldn't happen if we had put things in place. He ran and he took an oath of office to stand back and stand by. And that's what the 4 years have been. And supporting this hatred, it has grown. And we've seen even the whole police thing, the fact that police brutality, we used to believe when things were put on body cams that maybe now this stuff would finally stop. They don't give a darn about body cams. This is because when you got the head of the Justice Department and the President of the United States saying, we got you, we're with you, understand body cam, what is that? What difference does that make in this country? Nothing. Truth means nothing anymore in this country.
And it's not just black boys, black men, it's black boys, black girls, black men, black women who are tried and jailed, tried and convicted and killed on the street versus getting the opportunity to go to court like average American people. And Father Pfleger. Guys, I'm gonna tell you something. Father Pfleger and I have a joke. I always say, I said, you my husband. He said, hey wife. And the reason why, because we're on the same mind. That's,
Right.
you know. So and I love Father Pfleger. Always love Father
April Wine's my boo.
You my boo too. so no, but at the end of the day, Father Pfleger, what I don't understand is how we accept it. And then we think it's, it'll go away. You got to stand. If you don't stand, it's going to continue. And they have tried to bully people into submission. And there are a lot of people who are afraid. I just don't understand. I mean, what's he going to do? How you going to check me, boo?
Yeah. What worse can he do that he hasn't already done? But I think the understanding is that two things that happen. I think fear is part of it. I think the other part of it is so many folks have been conditioned to say this is how it's always going to be, and we just got to accept it. I talked about this in church this Sunday. There has been this consistent push to have people think if we just got a little better, it's okay, because it's never going to be right. It's never going to be equal. It's never going to be fair equity. So we got to be happy with crumbs. Who told you have to be happy with? I ain't no crumb eater. And I'm never going to be a crumb eater. And I'm not raising a crumb eater congregation. And we have to learn to do just what you do. Stand up and fight. I have a mantra here at the church that said, you know what? We fight to win. We fight until we win. In fact, it ain't over till I win. And that's what I tell people all the time. We got to learn how to fight in this country from the bottom up, because it's never going to come. Even Joe and Kamala can be the best in the world, but they're into a system with this Republican Senate, as of right now. They're into a system that's set up in place to keep things as they are and continue to make them worse. We're going to have to rise up in this country and be able to say what we're not going to accept anymore and what we demand in this country, because those folks, those 70 million plus, that base that grew of Donald Trump is real, alive, and breathing. And guess what? They're birthing children every day that are worse than them.
Fire breathing dragon, baby, dragonette. So listen, so Black, white, brown, all America is dealing with this. We're in a moment of potential transformation. Joe Biden is the president-elect. From the way I'm reporting it, from the facts that I'm getting, he's president-elect. Kamala Harris is vice president-elect. Donald Trump is still a loser, no matter how you add up
absolutely
the electoral college. And there was no voter fraud. They're lying, talking about dead people, children, all these voters. Come on, you dismantled the post office. Let's bring that into the equation.
Right, exactly.
So here, and they did that way before. They had people putting fake ballot boxes up in California.
Yeah.
So we had to.
These are his people.
Right. We had to track our votes to make sure our vote got into
the
Board of
Imagine that in America. We send poll watchers to other countries. We needed poll watchers in our country.
That's what I'm saying. And everything that's happening, we hit it. Everything that's happening here, we in the past have said called human rights issues in other nations. We've had the UN, the United Nations, go after people. People have been held for crimes against humanity.
Right.
At the Hague for this kind of stuff. But it ain't happening.
And now we need all those things to come in America and do the exact same thing. I said back down where they go to the border, putting people in cages, separating children from their parents. Why was the Human Rights Commission was not brought in America and confronted what was going on? Why was the United Nations so quiet? Because he's a bully. He's a bully that works on intimidation and threats.
A lot of these people have gone to these esteemed schools and they've lived these wonderful middle to upper income lives and never have seen the hood or never have seen anything controversial, and get scared when he even speaks to them. They want to run to the other corner and they don't know how to stand up to him. I'm telling you guys, game peeps game. This man is nothing but a hood rat from New York. I love New York, but he's a hood rat, okay?
Sitting in the Oval Office.
Sitting in the Oval Office, messing up the presidency, messed up our lives.
That's right.
COVID. We running from COVID. Worst numbers yet. He said it was supposed to be over. So okay. Once again, for you guys who don't know, this is Father Michael Pfleger, okay, of Saints of Abiders Church in the south side of Chicago, Chi-Town. So, and Father Pfleger's story is so amazing. He has turned around gangs, members of gangs. He's turned around the community. He has got such a following, and he's making a difference. And that's why we're talking. Look, he's preaching so hard, he's got to drink all that water. So, so we have him for about another 50. Yeah, he is fire. And how can people support you? Because I want to get that out too. I want to get out.
Go to our website, www.saintsabina, spelled out SAINTSABINA.org. That's Saint Sabina, spelled out SAINTSABINA.org. Email me. You can email me at my personal email, Pastor Pfleger, PASTOR, PFLEGER. Now, you know I'm old, so it's at Ameritech.net. Don't nobody know Ameritech. Ameritech used to exist in this city, but ain't here no more. But I'm still here. I'm holding on to Ameritech.net.
I still have an AOL account.
See, I don't feel so. That's why you my boo.
Oh my, I accept that. I accept that. So I will be the first lady of Saint Sabina. So here's what I need to find out. In the midst of all of this, we're still concerned about Chicago. We're very concerned about Chicago. What is the state of play in Chicago? What's still going on in Chicago? And what does the administration need to do to help?
Well, let me say this. I'm glad you asked that, because that's my heart, and that's what I fight every single day, is this violence that has made our children literally roadkill out here. And it's off the roof since January this year, 2020. Violence in Chicago is up 57% in this city. And here's what we got to understand, because everyone wants to talk about Chicago and talk about how bad it is, but because we don't have the courage to get to the roots of this violence. When you have 16, 17 communities out of the 77 communities in Chicago who have same scenario, double-digit unemployment, underfunded, underperforming schools, high poverty, lack of access to health care, lack of access to mental health, lack of access to healthy food. You have the most coming back from incarceration to these communities with no opportunities, nothing before them, no economic development, no affordable housing, and communities that are traumatized. So we shouldn't be surprised that violence is what it is. Because and if people say, well, why don't the young people there value themselves? Because every day they walk out our house and are reminded nobody values them, because they look at the communities and they see that every day in their face. So until we have the courage, Dr. King said something that I never forgot. He said it didn't cost America any money to integrate buses, integrate lunch counters, for us to vote. Didn't cost anything. But to deal with equity and equality in areas that have been abandoned for decades is going to be trillions of dollars. And until we have we went down in the basement and printed trillions of dollars to give out, so everybody could get their little package from Donald Trump of $1,200. Well, guess what? Go back in that basement and turn on the machine and stop printing money. Because if we don't equal these communities, and if we don't demand these communities have the equity. I was at a thing about 2 weeks ago downtown with socially spaced distance so we could all be apart from each other and be safe. And we did that. But these group of businessmen said, well, we're concerned now because a lot of violence is coming downtown now. I said, absolutely, because violence got keys. And violence is going to go other places, because there ain't nothing left to rob on 79th Street. They go come downtown. So understand, until those in power in the city, in corporate America, and the CEOs, until you understand that you must care about the rest of the city, then the violence is going to come to your door. If you don't care about it because it's a righteous thing to do, you're going to care about it because your kids are going to be and vulnerable now for their lives. And get it right. And understand, when the West and the South Side do better, all of Chicago is going to do better. So stop thinking like you can survive around your downtown and your North Shore and your Gold Coast and the hell with the rest of the city. No. No, either you're going to work about the rest of the city and care about it, or it's going to come to your doorstep. They're saying, well, we're afraid to walk downtown now. I said, well, people are afraid to walk on 79th Street every day. Welcome to my world. Oh, our buildings are boarded up downtown now. Welcome to my world. So understand there is a responsibility. And it's not just that on money or programs. Everyone, we've got to make sure that every one of those boardrooms, who's on your board? Who's on your board of trustees? Who's sitting in your offices of power? I'm trying to walk in a building and see secretaries and maintenance people in these corporate Americas. Well, put them in your boardrooms, put them in your CEO, put them in your COO, your CFO, until you decide that you're going to put black people and brown people into positions of power downtown. You talk about integrating the neighborhoods. Well, we got to integrate the South Side. No, start with integrating downtown in your power base, and then we'll worry about the neighborhood. But if you do not decide and get some conviction and some righteousness about what's got to be done out here, the violence is not going to stop. Because guess what? You put two lions in a cage, and you
somebody
don't
gonna die.
Survival of the fittest. One go kill the other. Well, guess what? You cage in whole communities with no resources, no food, no opportunity. I understand the same thing's going to happen. But don't talk about the horizontal violence if you don't talk about the vertical violence of poverty, injustice, inequity, lack of economic development, lack of good education. So talk about the violence that's created the violence in the streets. Don't just talk about violence on the streets.
So here's where I am. Here's where I am. I have a problem with the issue of gentrification, the issue of the suburbs and putting Cory Booker there. But if we do it, we got to make sure we take care of our base that was already there.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
my thing. I think we need to keep
please
the
say that.
yeah, because when you go in and gentrify, a lot of our people can't go back in there, you know, and they were already there. I think we need to take care of those, expand it, but take care of those. But I also have a problem with the suburb thing. I don't have a problem with the suburbs. I think the suburbs are great. So I think the inner city is great. But when you sit up there and play this old racist mindset of a black man versus a white woman, he was talking about the white women in the suburbs and who is going to be the head of HUD? Cory Booker. That's that fear of the black man. The white man fear and the black man will be. He played it, and people didn't see that.
He played it.
They didn't see the subliminal message of it. And then I don't know.
Telling white women, he didn't have to say white women. All he had, they knew the code that your suburbs are not going to be safe if I don't win. He played it to the T, and guess what though, April? They fell for it because you know what? They believe that. I'll never forget when we were trying to bring the Children's Museum into Grant Park in Chicago to a location there. And the last Mayor Daley asked me, would you go to that meeting and sit in there and let me know what you're hearing? And I went in there and I heard all the cold words of these white women from these high rises. Well, we don't want a lot of just yellow school buses pulling up here at the Children's Museum. You know what? So what were you saying? You don't want no black kids coming down here into Grant Park. So you look out at what you think is your backyard that you own. And you don't want no school buses bringing kids down here. Well, you might understand Grant Park belongs to the city of Chicago, not to you. But he played those code words that have been real forever, and they're still real. And that's why we're in the situation we're in right now. But those folks believe that. And April, I think there's a certain amount of white folks are just following with him, and they're like a cult-like. But I think there's a whole lot of white folks that think just like him.
But see, but let me tell you, this is why we have these conversations, because we have to expose a lot of this thinking. A lot of people don't understand some of these old mindsets and these old racial conversations and statements. They don't understand it. Like that night, and we have a lot of white people in here, and I love everybody, guys. And I just thank you for the support.
I'm white. I like white people too.
Anyway, I thank you all for the support. And it's important because we need to understand one another, you know, so we can all work this thing out together. Because I believe in that we the people conversation, but I'm not going to let you have me on the side of the bus, on the side of the road, when I'm supposed to be in that bus on the front row with you. Hello.
Absolutely.
Still fighting in 2020. Everybody, brown and black people, still fighting for first-class citizenship. But here's something that we need to remember. And this is why we have these conversations, guys, because we need to know. Like the other night when Trump was talking about he's not a racist. Remember at the debate, I'm not a racist, and he said it's too dark for me to see. He was looking for his black supporters, and that's look it up. I'm not getting into it, but I was so offended. People are like, well, what are you making a little too much? I said, no. You don't understand the history and how they. Well, I'm gonna say it. He used to call us dark.
Yeah.
We were too dark. It was too dark for me to see my little darkies out there. Boy, bow with your orange self, your glowing orange self. And his makeup didn't even look right that night. It was too something.
But April, and I want to speak to my white folks, my white brothers and sisters. I want to be very clear with them. Some of the things we have to do is too often I hear white people say to me, I believe this, I think this, but I'm just so afraid to stand up because, one of my friends might say, or one of my friends or my neighbors might say, I just charge you. We have an opportunity here for a change. Stand up. Find the courage to stand up to your friends, your family, your coworkers. Stand up to these falsehoods and this hatred and bigotry and this racist joke. When you hear it, speak up and stand up. You cannot be quiet. You cannot be in some hidden place in your life, because guess what? This is going to come back to bite you. And you say, well, sometimes people judge all white people together. Well, then show them you're not together. Show them you're different. Show them that you don't stand for that stuff. You don't believe in that stuff. And guess what else you got to do? My white sisters and brothers, use your privilege. You have privilege as a white person. People say all the time, you're just there in the black community. I said, I don't understand something, though. At the end of the day, I'm white. I can get up and walk anywhere, and I'm a white person. People in my community can't walk. They're still a black person. So understand you have a privilege in your class, in your race. Use your privilege as a platform to give voice to the injustices and the evil and the wickedness that is being done. You cannot remain quiet while this broken system continues to keep masses of people in poverty and in pain. Open your ears, educate yourself, listen to what's going on. Dr. King had the 5 steps of social change. Number 1, educate yourself. Understand, find out what's going on, find out the resources that are not going in these other communities. And second, then begin to negotiate. Talk to the powers that be, the corporate America, the government. Talk to them about what has to be done and be changed. Thirdly, he said, purify yourself. Make sure you're doing it for the right reason. Fourth, then, when nothing else works, demonstrate. Civil disobedience and demonstration has to take place like it did in the 60s, like it has to do today. We're going to have to do whatever we have to do to change this system at this moment. But I believe, and I'll shut up after this, April, but I believe, and I said this Sunday at church, that America right now is like in the Gospel of Luke. Jesus told a parable, and he said a story about a fig tree. They said it had not bore fruit, and it had not bore fruit. The man said, cut the tree down. They said, give it one more chance. If it doesn't grow and it doesn't bear fruit in the next year, but see if we can bear fruit in the next year, and if it doesn't, we'll cut it down. America has not bore fruit. It has not bore fruit to the words of the Constitution and the preamble that they shout and they claim. It has not bore fruit to saying we're one nation under God. It has not bore fruit to say, oh, beautiful for spacious God, liberty and justice for all. It has not bore fruit. It is a barren fig tree. And I believe that God's grace and God's mercy is giving us an opportunity now, with all the exposure of racism and poverty and hatred and evil that we've seen in these last 4 years, to show us this real America. We now have an opportunity to bear fruit. But understand, America, you are at a place of judgment. If we do not rise up and become fruitful in this next year, then understand, don't be surprised when we're cut down, because God is not going to be mocked. God is still sitting on the throne, and these preachers and imams and rabbis going up into your pulpits, your synagogues, your mosques, your churches, and don't use your prophetic voice to challenge this country and be who we're supposed to be, the conscience, the moral compass of this country, if we take our place, watch God cut these trees down.
God does not give us a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound
mind.
And we have to remember, and I'm seeing it, every generation has to maintain, because it's not a given that it's going to be easy.
Yes.
Because we had we had laws from the 60s, and they struck down the Voting Rights Act, and look at where we are in 2020, fighting again for first-class citizenship in 2020.
Yep.
We got to keep the
and
fight
understand going. It's going to be sacrificial. It's going to be costly, and it's going to be sacrificial. So if you stand up for justice and you expose racism when you see it in your coworkers, in your home, in your family, in your relatives, with your neighbors, you're going to lose some friends. But are you going to be able to be true to yourself? And I say to every person of faith, Christian, Muslim, Jew, Baha'i, Sikh, whatever you are, if you dare say that you believe in some higher power, who are you going to stand before? Who do you care gives you an amen? That God you say you serve and you love, or your neighbors or your co-workers or your family members? Be true to God and be true to yourself and trust him. It's time for us to either this faith thing is real or stop going to the mosque, the synagogue, and the church and playing games, because God ain't playing games with you.
Because I believe, I'm going to tell you something, we got the locusts, we got the killer bees, we got the COVID, we got the Trump. I believe we're in the last days. It's either the Exodus or the Revelation. I don't know
one or the other coming. And listen, I've been here in purgatory. I ain't going to hell, so I'm going to try to get it right.
Get it right. So, Father Pfleger, we are over time, and I just thank you.
I'm sorry.
No. Let me tell you something. You preached the word tonight. We just have to lift an offering. We did lift an offering, told them where to donate, and we just need the benediction. That's all. You gave a text. We gave a text. But I just want to say, you have always been a supporter. You've always been somebody I thought was magnificent. You've got fans everywhere. Valerie Jarrett, from people from Obama. Have you talked to Biden yet? Have you talked with Biden yet?
No, I have not. I have not talked to him. You know, a couple of years ago, I had a long conversation with Kamala because I was preaching at Howard that day, and she was in the audience, and we talked later at the I took a picture together over at the bookstore, and but no, I have not talked to them. But let me just say this, the last thing, and I promise to shut up. But April, I want to thank you because as a woman, as a Black woman, you have taken so much, not just from the Trumps. I'm talking about people around you in your peers who have not stood up for you, who have not defended you, who have not said, when you talk about her, you talk about me. When you demonize her, you demonize me. I thank you that you have been consistent. You held on to your integrity. You held on to your courage. And you held on to your willingness to say, I'm going to be a voice, even if there's nobody else. So I thank you for your witness, because I think your witness, I know, gives me strength. Because when I look and see April doing it, and April standing up, even when I'm saying that some of your peers may not call you names, but they ain't standing there saying, she go down, I go down either.
Right, they're not. But I'm gonna say this to you. It's even deeper than you know. But I'm gonna tell you, I appreciate you, and I'm gonna tell you, it's not been easy. But you know what the devil means for evil, God turns around for good.
Good,
and
absolutely.
There's greater coming. And
yes,
I'm telling you, and that's what we got. If you stand true and you're not. I believe the Lord has got. I believe God has got us, and we just got to find our way. And I'm gonna tell you, Father Pfleger, for you, you've prayed for me, you've been there for me. It ain't nothing. And I'm gonna profess and proclaim the name of Jesus tonight. It ain't nothing but God that this little Black girl is still alive.
Absolutely.
Think about it. A Black girl from Baltimore didn't have much support in me. Still don't have much support in me by way of employment or whatever. And then the President of the United States comes after me.
Yeah.
And I'm still standing.
Not only standing, being true to you. You refuse to compromise.
Death threats, bomb squad at my home. All because
And
I asked a question of a sitting president about people who are underserved. That ain't right. That's not America. We are better than that. As Elijah Cummings says, we're better than that.
yeah, and unfortunately, we're at a time where we've seemingly are falling out of love with truth.
Mm.
And we got to fall back in love again. And you're one of those voices that continue to challenge us. And I think the one of the reasons you make some people mad is because when they hear you, they know you're right. So they can't disagree with you. So they got to demonize you. But stay true, sister. We love you. I pray for you every single day.
Thank you.
And I'm so proud of you. I'm so